St. Francis of Assisi once said that you can't initially see what you are looking for because what you are looking for is doing the looking. Barbara Brown Taylor, the Episcopalian priest and one of my all-time favorite writers, she once said the reason why that so many people can't find the X that marks the spot in their life is because they're standing on it. Similarly, Father Richard Rohr says that the ground we are trying to attain through endlessly striving for more is actually the ground that we have been standing on all along. These are three different mystics, and they all point to the same undeniable truth. The life that we long for, that life that's so full of joy, satisfaction, and that overall aliveness, right? That life that we long for is already buried inside of us. And so on this video, I'm going to talk about the exact process that you can begin to implement in your life to unlock that deeper sense of life that we all crave. And so let's get started. I think a lot of us, we live our lives knowing that we were made for more. We feel that almost insatiable thirst, that hunger, that longing for something greater than what we currently have. And then we set out to achieve more, accomplish more, work harder, work longer, push forward at all costs. We relentlessly pursue that external edge in hopes that we can do enough so that one day we can finally satisfy the deeper longing that we feel in our lives. But the reality is, and I think a lot of us experience this, it's exactly what I experienced, especially, on the backside of chasing the NFL my entire life, getting to the NFL and realizing that while I was externally successful, I still felt internally bankrupt, meaning there was actually no amount of success in my life that was satisfying this deeper hunger, this wholeness that I was longing for. And that was a very disorienting experience. And I think it's an experience that a lot of people have in their own unique ways. Maybe you're not chasing the NFL, but we are chasing that next promotion or the next relationship or the next city that we can move to. Like, we're always externally pursuing something so that in hopes we can maybe one day wake up and the life that we have is actually the life that we want. But for so many of us, that's just not our experience. We follow all the rules, we play the game, we accomplish, we achieve, we win time and time again. And for some of us, we play the game very well. But the reality is that in the moments that we are really radically honest with ourselves, we find ourselves in this very familiar place. There's a disconnect between the life that I have and how I expected to feel inside the life that I have. Meaning it doesn't matter how far we go or how high we climb or how much we achieve, there still is that overwhelming sense that just something is missing in our lives. And for a lot of us, when we feel that sense that something is missing, we feel the heaviness, we feel that weight of life, that lack of satisfaction and fulfillment. For a lot of us, we oftentimes see this mirroring back to us that maybe we're just not working hard enough, or maybe we just haven't accomplished enough. So let's go ahead and push it a little bit harder. Let's double down on that external effort. Let's double down on deploying greater willpower and discipline. Let's start a new morning routine. Let's try to optimize our life even more so that we can essentially climb a little bit higher, and maybe then we will find what we are looking for. And unfortunately, we cannot expect to get a new life experience while remaining the same. And this is one of the probably most delicate and fragile and also disorienting seasons of life to be in, because in so many ways, it's a paradox. What we have to understand is to cross over this threshold, to actually step into the fullness of the life that we long for, not in terms of external success, but in terms of internal wholeness, that is never going to be found on the backside of more external pursuits, because what we are looking for, right, according to St. Francis of Assisi, we can't get there because what we are looking for is actually doing the looking, meaning that thing is already in us. The wholeness, the satisfaction, the fulfillment, it's already in us. And so the first thing that we have to understand is that when we get to this point of basically mastering playing this game of external pursuits, following all of the rules, doing everything that we were told we are supposed to do in order to find a life that is satisfying and fulfilling. And we get to that moment when we should be feeling our best and we're not. That is not a signal that we are not doing enough and that we need to do more. That's where we completely miss it. that internal experience that we feel in that season of life, the disorientation, the heaviness, the dissatisfaction, what we have to realize is that is our deeper soul intelligence coming online and signaling to us that there is a deeper, more expansive way of life available to us, but it is not going to be discovered on that familiar path of the upward trajectory. That deeper soul intelligence is calling us to go within ourselves because that wholeness, that satisfaction, that fulfillment, it is already locked up inside of us. The truth is, it's just been buried. It's been buried under conditioning, buried under pain, buried under all of the expectations around who we were told we were supposed to be, right? It's buried within us. And so that dissatisfaction, that lack of fulfillment, that heaviness, all of those are the invitation to go into them, to begin to befriend them, to begin to deploy some curiosity in our lives and just simply asking, what are you trying to tell us? This simple step, just simply having the awareness of recognizing that I've worked really hard to get where I am today, but it does not feel like I thought it was. It's still not enough. I don't feel as whole, as happy, as satisfying as I thought I did. The simple awareness to understand that that is not going to be solved by doubling down on the old familiar patterns of doing a little bit more or chasing a little bit more or working a little bit harder or striving a little bit harder. That is only going to be reconciled by actually befriending the pain, befriending the discomfort, befriending the heaviness of our lives. One of my favorite poets, Rainer Maria Rilke, he has this beautiful line and he says, if we can just trust the heaviness of our lives, then we too could rise up rooted like trees. And that's what this season of life is all about. Not trying to outwork, outperform, or outlast the heaviness, but learning how to trust it. And so I just want to leave you with that question. What would it look like to, instead of trying to outwork, outperform, or outlast the disorientation, the heaviness, the internal discomfort, what would it look like to turn towards it? Like you're turning towards an old friend that you haven't seen in some time, and practicing presence and getting really still, connected to your body, and just simply asking, what are you trying to show me? What would it look like to be in a healthy relationship with that inner discomfort of our lives? Because that is the invitation that we are all being extended into. And when we say yes to it, that leads us down into ourselves so that we can begin to unlock the gift that has been waiting there all along. I hope that helps. If this is of interest to you, then I'm telling you, you are going to absolutely love my debut book that is being published on September 26th or on September 22nd. It's called Unstriving: 12 Lessons on Authentic Success from a Recovering Overachiever. I say this all the time. Nobody can do this journey for you, but you do not have to do it alone. And I am so grateful that you are here.